Welcome to video series on multiple choice questions in marketing. I have taught marketing for the last 20 years in a number of universities and professional institutes. Further, I have conducted various marketing and management related workshops to corporate sector. MCQs are now a very important part of marketing examination all over the world. As such, I wrote a book on multiple questions to help students in passing exams. I gathered question papers on MCQs of many universities and professional institutes. I analyzed more than 1,600 questions and found there are a set of questions that are frequently asked. It came to around 580 questions, and I answered all of these questions in my book. The question and answers discussed in the book cover a standard syllabus of marketing in diploma, undergraduate, and graduate level courses. I have discussed MCQs by categorizing it to 12 categories, namely introduction to marketing, marketing environment, marketing mix, marketing research, consumer behavior, segmentation, targeting and positioning, product, price, distribution, promotion, marketing planning, and information technology for marketing. As such, there are 12 chapters to my book. I decided to select 20 MCQs from each chapter and make 12 presentations as videos. As such, you will be able to view 12 presentations in this series and to learn 240 MCQs out of 580 MCQs in my book. Now take a piece of paper and pen. Get ready for an MCQ exam. In this presentation, I will discuss 20 MCQs selected from chapter 5 of my book. So this is the fifth video that I'm recording. So it's on marketing research. The first question. Marketing research means systematic gathering of data, recording and analysis of data, providing information to take marketing decisions. Only above 1 is correct. Above 1 and 2 are correct. What is the best answer? The best answer is above 1 and 2 are correct because marketing research is not only gathering and recording data, but it is provision of information. After you gather data, record data, and you analyze, and finally you provide information to the management to take decisions. Therefore, above 1 and 2 both are correct. Therefore, the answer 4 is the most appropriate answer to this question. What are the types of data used in marketing research? 1. Primary data only. 2. Secondary data only. 3. Secondary and primary data. 4. Secondary, primary and tertiary data. The most appropriate answer here is secondary and primary data. So the third answer is the correct answer. What is meant by primary data? Data freely available. Data used by the company in the early stages of a research. Third one, fresh data that are collected by the researcher specifically for this research. Number 4, data that are reported in other research reports. The most appropriate and correct answer for this is the primary data is fresh data that are collected by the researcher specifically for this research. Therefore, number 3 is the correct answer. Fourth question, what is meant by secondary data then? Number 1, data obtained in the latter part of the research. Second answer, data gathered by the company doing its own research specifically for this research. Third answer, data that are already available from other sources. Fourth answer, data that is important to verify current findings. So the most appropriate answer is data that are already available from other sources. So there could be papers, there could be reports, there could be news news items, there could be annual reports, there could be some other research done by people, right? All these, there could be many things out of the on the internet. All these things can be called as secondary data. In the approach to research, the researcher should, number one, first find out the data already available and study about it, complete the research. Second one, conduct a primary research to gather data for the current research. Number three, find out already available data, and if that is not enough, then should proceed to collection of primary data. Number four, conduct a pilot study to collect data before any of the above. So the most appropriate answer here is in the approach to research. The researcher should find out already available data. If data is already available, then he or she need not do a research again. So your research is going on secondary data. If that is not enough, or it is doubtful, it is not adequate, then you should proceed to collect primary data. Therefore, number 3 is the correct answer for this question. Another name for secondary data is off-the-shelf, old data, central bank data, census and statistics department's data. The most appropriate answer is off-the-shelf, right? Sometimes we call it desk research as well, because you do everything on a desk because you have all these papers, etc., and also the computer. So you do it on your own without leaving the office, right? Or else this is off the shelf is these books are in your shelf, so you can just take it and refer. So therefore, number 1 is the correct answer. The marketing manager instructs the researcher to refer to company sales records before embarking on research. He's referring to primary data. He's referring to secondary data. He's referring both to secondary and primary data. He's referring to data collected from, 1 minute, a third party. So what is the most appropriate answer? So the marketing manager instructs the researcher to refer to company sales records. So what he's really referring is, he's referring to secondary data. These records are with you, right? You have done certain sales and you have records. So they are in your company. So therefore, it comes under secondary data category. Secondary data collection is difficult to collect, relatively expensive than the collection of primary data, relatively cheaper than the collection of primary data. Specialized knowledge is required to analyze raw data. So the secondary data collection is relatively cheaper than the collection of primary data, because secondary data are collected from books, from the internet, from the recorded versions of many reports. So they are with you, right? It's not very expensive to access them. Sometimes there is no cost, it is already there. But for a primary data collection, you need to do a research on your own. That is expensive. Therefore, secondary data collection is relatively cheaper than the collection of primary data. Therefore, the number 3 is the correct answer. One other statement is not true as to secondary data. So you have to be very careful now here. This is these kind of answer questions are tricky. May not meet the specific needs of the current research. Accuracy of the data could be of concern. Data could be obsolete. Any data could be obtained through secondary data. So this says now there are 4 statements. 3 are correct. 1 is incorrect. So what is now, you tend to write usually the correct answers. But here you need to find out what is wrong here, right? So in this case, may not meet the specific needs of the current research. Yes, secondary data sometimes may not, because this is a special research that you have. So it may have not happened in the past and there is no proper research done on it. So it may not meet the specific needs of the current research. Accuracy of the data could be of concern because we don't know who has done it, how it has been reported. And data could be obsolete. Sometimes, although it is relevant, this research was done few years ago. Since things have changed, so this data may not be the best data to be used. So they are not the updated data. So therefore, it could be obsolete. Any data could be obtained through secondary data, which is wrong. So this is the answer to this. You cannot get all the data from secondary data. So therefore, number 4 is the correct answer to this question. 10. If a researcher is conducting his data collection through observing the behavior of customers in a supermarket, what data is he collecting? Is he collecting secondary data, primary data, supermarket data, fast-moving consumer goods buying data? Appropriate answer is he is collecting primary data because he is observing, he is doing a research. Therefore, most appropriate answer is primary data. What is the most popular method of collecting primary data? Observational method? Is it the behavioral methods? Is it the survey method? Is it in-depth interview method? The most popular method of collecting primary data is the survey method. Right? Therefore, number 3 is the correct answer. If a researcher is meeting people personally and asking questions about an issue, what kind of research is he doing? If a researcher is meeting people personally, right? A survey, in-depth interview, observational, behavior. It's a survey. Number 1 is the correct. So he goes and meet people, right? So he's conducting a survey. So therefore, number 1 is the correct answer. If a researcher is conducting a research with small group of 12 people in an enclosed environment by asking questions, he's conducting a survey, a focus group study, confidential research, research on personal preference of a product. He's conducting a focus group study, a small group in an enclosed environment. He could ask lots of questions. He can go into discussions. He can let people talk rather than having a structured set of questions. He has to give only a direction. So this is a focus group study. Therefore, number 2 is the correct answer. One of the statements as to primary data collection is wrong. Here again, you have to be careful. Right? So we have to find out what is the wrong answer. So primary data, it is cheaper to collect primary data. Can collect relevant data. Accuracy can be relied upon. Sufficient number of samples can be included. Now all these are as to research, as to primary data, right? So we know that primary data is not cheaper because you got to spend money, you got to make people, you got to prepare questionnaires, you got to send people out, you got to collect data, then you'll have to collect them, then you'll have to go through the statistical packages and analyze them, then report. So there's a long process, a cumbersome process. So therefore, it is not cheap. Therefore, number 1 is the wrong answer. It is cheaper to collect primary data. So we are asking what is the wrong answer. So it is not cheap really. Therefore, it is cheaper to collect primary data is the correct answer for this. First step in research process is to conduct a pilot study, define the research problem, collection of data, developing a research plan. The most important here is when you conduct a research, the first step is define the research problem. Therefore, number two is the correct answer. What is qualitative data? Data that can be easily counted. Data that describes about quality. Both 1 and 2, that is, data can be easily counted and data can be described about quality. The fourth one, data that cannot be counted in numbers. The qualitative data is a data that cannot be counted in numbers. Therefore, number 4 is the correct answer. A researcher asks from a consumer, how many times per month you visit this supermarket? He is collecting consumer data, quantitative data, qualitative data, none of the above. He's really collecting quantitative data. He asks a number, how many times per month. So the answer for him is a number. So it's something that you can count. So therefore it is quantitative data. Number 2 is the correct answer. There are two types of questions asked in a survey. First one, open-ended and confidential. Close-ended and difficult. Third one, open-ended and close-ended. Fourth one, easy questions and difficult questions. Here the obvious answer is open-ended and close-ended. So number 3 is the correct answer. If a researcher says, do you smoke or do not smoke? It is number 1, dichotomous question, structured question, an unstructured question, a Likert scale question. So the number 1 is the correct answer, dichotomous, two times. You have two possible answers, right? So you say, do you smoke or not? So you have two options, either to say yes or no. Therefore, it's called the dichotomous question. One of the answers is not an internal company record. Balance sheet, annual report, past research report by the company, central bank report found in the company library. One of the answers, not an internal company record, although they are inside the company, but it does not generated from the company. So balance sheet generates from the company, annual report generates from the company, past research report by the company is also generated from the company. Therefore, number 4 is the correct answer. Central bank report found in the company library. So this is generated by the central bank or the main bank in a country. So it is not something that you have generated, but you have purchased this book. So that's the end of this video presentation. If you are interested in viewing the whole book, which has 580 questions and answers, please log on to amazon.com and search Marketing MCQs by Maxwell Ranasinghe. You can read the digital version totally free or download it by just paying $4.99 US. I strongly believe it's a very good investment for you, and I also consider it is an appreciation of my work towards the student community. Thank you and good luck. Until we meet again on another topic, on another video session of multiple choice questions in marketing.